What's up, guys? Welcome to the line change. And in this video, we're going to be talking a little bit about EP40. No, this is not part 3 of the EP40 Chronicles. I know in my unboxing video, I mentioned that part 3 could come out later this week. I'm going to push that back to next week. That's going to come out. I'm going to work on it over the weekend. So I'm aiming for Wednesday for that video to come out. So stay tuned for that. But in this video, we are going to be talking about EP40, but we're going to be talking about an article that, as well as a report that is going out there saying that the Vancouver Canucks are leaning towards keeping EP40 due to them being impressed with what he's done so far this offseason. We're going to go over an article talking about that. And but before we do that, I want to give a big thank you and a big shout out to my primary sponsor of this channel. You guys have probably heard of him as I talk nonstop about him and rave about him. His name, Gassy Jack Art, the maker of that sick artwork that you see in the back there. That is by Gassy Jack Art. So I'd like to give a big thank you to my sponsor, Gassy Jack Art. And Gassy Jack Art, for those of you that do not know who Jack is, Gassy Jack Art produces hockey prints on archival paper and canvas that have been rated to last over 100 years. Their product range features a variety of players from different teams, including the Edmonton Oilers, Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs, Calgary Flames, Colorado Avalanche, and your Vancouver Canucks, as well as more. So go ahead and check him out. GassyJackArt.com is his website. And right now, he still has his end of season sale going on where you can buy 2 prints and get an additional two prints for free. So basically, you're paying, and these prints are between $20 and $25 each. So if you add 2 to your cart, you get an additional 2 for free. So you're technically only paying $40 for 4 prints, which is a steal of a deal, especially considering the how great these prints are and how much he pays attention to detail, and as well as how detailed these prints are. Trust me, you're gonna want to get some of these and put them up around your house, whether that's on your desk, on your bedside table, on your wall. Definitely check them out, Gassy Jack Art, and trust me, you're not gonna regret getting these prints and just having a piece of not only history, but getting your favorite player and having him on your wall. In particular, especially considering this sale is not going to be on forever, so take advantage of it while you can. Once again, GassyJackArt.com is a website. You can also find Jack on Instagram. Just search at Gassy Jack Art and you'll find his Instagram page. Go ahead, check him out. And once again, a big thank you to Gassy Jack Art for sponsoring this video as well as supporting this channel. Now, moving on to our topic at hand, which is EP40. So we're gonna go ahead and check out an article on Canucks Army, and this article in particular is written by a friend of the podcast, friend of the show, and previous guest of the show, David Quadrelli. Quads is the one who wrote this article. And I haven't even read it yet, but Quads always does some very amazing articles. So great job, Quads. Looking forward to reading this. And let's just go ahead and dive right into it. It's been nearly 2 months since the Vancouver Canucks last played a game, and still Elias Pettersson is a hot button topic among fans. More specifically, what the Canucks should do with Pettersson before his no-move clause kicks in on July 1st. Obviously, that deadline is soon approaching, and the club will have to make a decision one way or another. Almost right after signing his franchise record 92.8 million 8-year contract extension, Pettersson's production fell off a cliff that extended through the end of the 2023-24 season, into the playoffs, and into this past season as well. As Pettersson finished off year one of his contract with a measly 15 goals, and 30 assists through 64 games played. It was a season mired in such mediocrity that has many doubting whether or not Pettersson can bounce back and return to the player he once was. So the Canucks have a decision on their hands. They can either keep Pettersson through July 1st and hope he bounces back, or they can trade him and work on retooling their team with an extra $11.6 million in cap space. If they keep him, they obviously run the risk of Pettersson not bouncing back, and even worse, controlling the situation thanks to his no-move clause. A nightmare scenario for the Canucks would be Pettersson asking for a trade out of Vancouver, giving the Canucks a list of 1 or 2 teams that he'd be willing to waive to go to. If they don't trade him ahead of July 1st, it's pretty safe to say it's because they think he's capable of bouncing back and being the 100-plus point player we've seen before. And according to The Athletic's Pierre LeBrun, keeping Pettersson seems to be the direction the Canucks are leaning in. Here's what LeBrun wrote, and this is a quote from Pierre LeBrun. "Never say never, but all signs point to the Canucks keeping Elias Pettersson, whose full no-move clause kicks in July 1st. The Canucks are encouraged by Pettersson's approach this offseason. While his production over the past 2 years hasn't matched his $11.6 million salary, and he's got 7 more years on his deal, there were teams monitoring that situation given how thin the UFA market is, but it sounds like Vancouver wants to keep him. Pettersson has 7 years left on his contract at a cap hit of $11.6 million. He has a full no-move clause in all 7 of those seasons. He is set to become an unrestricted free agent in 2032 when he will be 33 years old. Do you think the Canucks should keep Pettersson through July 1st? Let us. And then that is the end of the article. But, you know, this is very interesting to hear that the Canucks are, pleased with, basically they're pleased with the direction that he's, or they're pleased with his offseason, or his approach to the offseason so far. Now, obviously, we heard earlier in the offseason that he stayed in Vancouver for at least a week and trained before going to Sweden, or I should say back home to Sweden. And then we heard recently that he's back in Vancouver, and he ended up having a dinner with Quinn Hughes, Adam Foote, and I believe it was Thatcher Demko. They all had a dinner together. They met and talked, and this is probably where Adam Foote asked Pettersson about his offseason training and what it's been like so far. And then obviously Adam Foote then went and probably spoke to Patrick Allvin and Jimmy Rutherford and informed them of what Pettersson had told them, or told him rather. So things are looking positive on the Elias Pettersson front, and in regards to his offseason training. Obviously take it with a grain of salt, considering, although you also have to keep in mind also last season, Pettersson not coming into camp, in shape. This was the first time we've heard of it. And I mentioned this in my part 2 of my EP40 Chronicles on, basically detailing exactly what happened with Elias Pettersson and his injury. Obviously, he was not able to train properly because of the injury. And then this season, he is 100% healthy going into the offseason, which is a huge bonus for us, meaning he can fully train properly. And hopefully this means that we will see the Elias Pettersson of old, the 100-point player. But I also mentioned in that same video that it wasn't just a physical thing for Petey. It was clearly a mental thing as well, and a confidence issue, with the whole JT Miller, Petey stuff, and then obviously the pressure of his contract and all the noise, having PD, go back to Sweden and just basically zone out from that, get that out of his head and get away from the noise probably really helped. So I'm really intrigued to see what exactly the Canucks are going to do come July 1st. It is, only a couple weeks away, 3, I believe, weeks away from his deadline. And I already mentioned in part 1 of the EP40 Chronicles that I am under the impression they're going to keep him. And that hasn't changed. And this article is kind of reinforcing that, in my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of this article and think of the Canucks leaning towards keeping Elias Pettersson instead of trading him. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to stay up to date on all your Canucks content, whether that's Vancouver Canucks or the Abbotsford Canucks, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. You can find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook. Just search The Line Change to find our Facebook page. You can find us on Instagram at The Line Change. You can find us on X at Line Change Van. You can also find us on TikTok at the.line.change.po. And feel free to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. And if you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, feel free to, once again, give us a follow, as well as rate and review us. It is, of course, greatly appreciated. But that's going to do it for me in this video. Once again, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this article. Do you think, the Canucks are actually leaning towards keeping PD? What are your thoughts on it? Do you guys agree with the team, leaning towards keeping Pettersson, or would you rather they trade him and get something for him? So yeah, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.